Welcome back to Mustache Moto. It's Ben, and today we're going to go over all the tips and tricks y'all have left in the comments of my videos. We got some great ones. All right, let's dig into some of the great tips and tricks y'all have left as comments on my videos. Let me also say right here, if you love this content, please subscribe and like. It really helps me grow the channel. All right, we're gonna kick it off with comments on my 7 shop hacks video that I did. Let's see, Michael B. Doherty pointed out with screwdrivers, make sure you're using a JIS type screwdriver. If you're working on a Japanese bike, that's Japanese Industrial Standard. The Phillips head are actually a little different than well, it's not a Phillips head, it's a JIS, but what we call a Phillips head, and that'll help keep you from stripping out a screw. Donnie64 in PA mentioned using one of those kind of grabber tools that mechanics have. You can get them at the auto parts store. Those are great for picking up nuts and bolts that you drop down in the engine or in engine compartment. I guess it's not a compartment. Things you can't reach. Great way to pick those up. But I really liked HDK 6585. His idea was he takes a blanket and he hangs it alongside his motorcycle. Then he gets out his leaf blower, blows any lost fasteners or anything he dropped that he can't reach, blows it right out the side of the motorcycle. It gets caught in the blanket. Great idea. All right, in my keeping your hands warm video, NE80V said this is a great tip. You know, I talked about using chemical hand warmers that are oxygen activated, that you just rip open, hot hands basically. He mentioned that those are, since they're oxygen activated, air activated, if you don't use them all the way up, if they're still, use them for an hour or two, you can put them in a good Ziploc bag and seal it, squeeze the air out, and they'll be good the next time you need them. So you actually can use the same pair multiple times if you don't need that full 8 or 10 hours. All right, couple of comments in my Don't Ride Cold video. User XF8HE1WE71, great name there. He mentioned getting some plastic wrap if it's cold and wet and you don't have rain pants. Stop at a Walmart, get some plastic wrap, and just wrap your legs in it. Guess it would work. Omnivore 2220 talked about a pair of gaiters, like just hiking or camping gaiters that go on the bottom of your foot or bottom of your pant leg. That'll help keep any of the wind or rain from going up in your rain pants. Great idea there. And Alan Knorr talked about, Tyvek. It's the wrap they put around houses when they're building them. It's kind of indestructible, plasticky material. I've used it when I camp for like a footprint under my tent. But he keeps a big rectangle of it with a slit in it, and wears it like a poncho underneath his jacket if he gets cold or it's too windy. Let's see, Seth Jason talked about if your hands get cold and wet, you don't have waterproof gloves. One easy way to solve that is those dog poop bags you find at any park. I can actually tell you this works because I've been out on long runs in cold weather and my hands were freezing, and in a park, grabbed them, put them on. It makes a huge difference. Make sure they're not full of poop. You don't want to do that. Let's see, Uncle Wally 3, he suggested buy a tinfoil wrapped baked potato. I guess you do it. Wendy's, I think, is the only restaurant I can think of that would sell that. Stick that down in your jacket to keep you warm. I guess it would work. I don't know. In my video on what tools I pack on the bike, I talked about using or having JB Weld in case you get a crack in the engine case. You hit a rock, you bust your bike up. He suggested some little 2x2-inch squares of screen, like a door screen or window screen, the metal mesh. Small, light, easy to carry, and that would actually create a form. If you had a larger hole, you could use that and build the JB Weld up over it. It'd give it a lot more structural stability. In my rain video, Rick Young 360 mentioned that Rain-X makes a plastic version. Rain-X is the stuff you spray on your windshield and it makes the water shed off really well. They make a version specifically for plastic, so you can use that on your visor and on the windscreen on your motorcycle. It'll blow all that off. I thought about Rain-X and I didn't mention it because I didn't realize there was one for plastic, and the regular one for glass is not safe to use. It can screw up your visor or your windshield. Let's see, It's Bad Rabbit 716 mentioned when I talked about tires and having good grip in the rain. He said, don't try it on semi-slicks, which are basically DOT approved race tires. Makes total sense. They're going to be really sketchy. And then John Leonard's 597. Great thing to remember here is if you stop for gas and it's wet out or it's raining, be really, really careful around a diesel pump because diesel is super slick and it doesn't evaporate like gas. So if it's wet, your boots are wet, and you go to put your foot down in some diesel, you might very well drop your bike. Got to be real careful of that. And my buddy Sean Sarton mentioned, even if you've got good panniers, if you're carrying a computer or a laptop, especially when you travel, or an iPad, things like that, buy some 2.5 gallon Ziplocs, the really big ones, put them in there, seal it up, and then put it in your bag because he's had hard panniers leak before in really bad rain, and you don't want to ruin your computer that way. There's a lot of great tips there. I really appreciate y'all sharing those with me. I know I learned a lot. If you have more tips and tricks, more ideas and things that I haven't covered, please make sure you put them down in the comments below. That way I can come back and we can do another video in the future with even more of these great ideas. Thanks for watching. Now get out there and ride.